certainly an exciting time for all of us that have been here since January 16th or 15th. Feels like it's been really short some days and really long other days. So it's certainly now time to go play. Talking season's over. And it's an opportunity for our team to really go out there and showcase how hard they play. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about all week long is can we have the team with the greatest amount of effort for the longest amount of time? And can our program sustain that and build that as the weeks go on? So that's going to be our number one focus for sure. And then number two is, are we capable of playing together and playing at the highest level? We haven't really done that as we're so brand new that it'll be our first time that we're all out there together. So really excited about kind of seeing how we do, how we communicate. And if we can play with great effort and we can communicate at a high level, I think it'll be a fun season. But there's a lot of things that we need to see. It starts Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Excited about first game at home being for me and my family, for our coaches, to be a part of the greatest setting in college football. Really excited about the chance to, drive up here, be a part of the dog walk, start some of our own new traditions, as well as embrace the past of the traditions that have been here, and then hit the field for the very first time as a Husky. So excited about everything that's coming our way, and certainly take any questions you guys have.
What allowed Will Rogers to ultimately win the starting quarterback job?
I think Will, from the very beginning, showed a command, a maturity. He has a ton of experience. We felt that with a team of inexperience, it's a nice thing to have a lot of experience at that position. And Will has certainly shown that he has great leadership abilities. He has certainly embraced learning this offense, and then has continued to improve week in and week out, day in and day out. And he's had somebody that's really, really good nipping at his heels every single day. So they make a great pair. They've certainly become very good friends. They've gotten to really build a great relationship. But in the end, we felt like at this moment in time for this game, certainly Will was the right guy to lead the team.
Jim, we spent a lot of time asking you about the offensive line over the offseason, and you have your 5 guys for now. Can you kind of just talk about who those guys are and why those 5 guys are the right ones?
Yeah, we kind of had a pretty good mix and match. I mean, in the spring, we only had 8 scholarship offensive linemen, and 2 of them were hurt, and we didn't really have a lot of flexibility to be able to evaluate the team and the offensive line. And then as spring went to summer, summer went to fall, we started getting a good feel and really had about a 10-man rotation of offensive linemen. And when we settled down and saw who were going to be the best 5 for opening day to help us move the football, we felt really good about Swane's progress at left tackle. Thought that he really has shown the ability to not just run block, but pass protect. He's got great length. He's got a body that you want as a left tackle. Felt really good about right tackle. Obviously, Drew as a party has kind of had that spot throughout. That wasn't, I would say that he was secured the spot the earliest, starting in the spring. And then the guard battle was a pretty good battle all the way through, with guard Memelar coming back from a knee injury and then bringing Enoch in from Ohio State. Both of those guys have certainly helped us, but there's been a lot of good guard play here, I would say, in training camp. So there's certainly some good competition there. And then with Hatchett coming back and being cleared to play, but how many reps, how many, can he play a full game? He hasn't done that yet. We really like the way D'Lo has been playing. And D'Lo has, I think it's 48 starts at Portland State. So there's experience there, and with him and Will, those two guys, if you add up the amount of starts that those two guys have, I don't think anyone combined is close to that number. I think when you look at the 30-something starts that Will had, or even more, and the 48 starts that D'Lo had, you're talking about almost 80 starts. I'm not sure our team is 80 starts when you add them all up, so it's pretty good.
Jedd, on that same subject right here, you had said on your first day here about it starting in the trenches. I think you'd said to win games in the Big Ten, it starts in the trenches. If you can't run the ball or stop the run, you don't have a chance. And I'm just wondering, your confidence level in the trenches on both sides, how would you describe where you feel like you're at offensively and defensively with the big boys up front?
Yeah, well, I certainly, I don't regret saying that, and I believe that 100%. We are certainly gotten better up front, both sides of the ball. I feel that this training camp, Coach Carroll, Coach Kafusi, both have done a tremendous job of getting our two lines, offensive line and defensive line, ready to go, along with their assistants, with Coach Lynch and Coach Jackson and Coach Switzer. So we feel good about it. I think our defensive line with Durfee and with Seabass, you've got Sebastian Valdez, you've got Durfee, you've got Javon Parker coming back from injury, Bandez returning for his 6th year. You've got Isaiah Ward who came over. There's a really good defensive line group, and I think we're really solid, really into the two deep, if not even one or two others rotating through. Then you have on the offensive line, I feel far better than I did going into training camp now that I've seen these guys compete. And I was confident from the film that we were able to evaluate and see, but to be able to watch them work together every day. It's still a work in progress, and we still have to figure out exactly what it's going to look like. I mean, this group saw two first-round picks. I know one went in the second, one went in the first, but some people would have argued they both should have been first-round picks last year at tackle. So we certainly know that there's a standard of playing really good up front, and we have to continue to really build off of that, whether it be this week, this season, or the seasons ahead.
You mentioned Javon Parker. You guys didn't have him for a lot of camp here. What did he do to be listed at the top of the depth chart?
Well, when he was healthy, he was a starter for us. Then he wound up at some point in spring ball having to get his knee fixed up. And it wasn't a season ender. It was about a 3-month recovery. So when you look at the time frame of when it happened or where it happened and then what we needed to get done, he's now back healthy. And he's back healthy, and we believe that based upon the way he worked all summer in the weight room and on his rehab, the amount of film study, the preparation, that he put himself in position to be able to have substantial reps on Saturday. Whether between the next 4 days or so we're fully comfortable with starting him or not, we'll have to see that. But certainly prior to his injury, he would have been certainly named the starter at this point.
Could you talk about the Big Sky connection here? You've got maybe 3 transfers that are going to start for you from that league, and it used to be maybe a gimme game, but 3 years ago we saw Montana come in here and win, and I think you went through the same thing at Arizona that year with Northern Arizona. Could you talk about keeping your guys focused on the Big Sky?
Yeah, and I think we just saw it this Saturday with Montana State beating New Mexico. I think these games, we're going to have a North Dakota State game against Colorado the night before. I think that the days of the gimme days, I don't know. I think those are over. The leagues are different. The competition's different. Coaching's continuing to improve. This is not like what we had back in, 2000 when I was at Florida and you'd have a game that you'd win 60-something to nothing. I just don't see it. I don't see that being the case at all. I think you've got a really good football team coming in here off of a 3-game win streak, ranked 22nd in the FCS. They've played in the playoffs 8 times here in a row, or 8 times in the last 10 years. It's a good football team, well coached, new coach, going into his 2nd season. So there are no more gimmies in this sport, especially with all the transitions and all the turnovers and all the changes. They have 10 transfers that are on their team, 8 of which came from the FBS. You would never have had that back in the day. You wouldn't have had 8 guys that played in FBS football now playing in FCS football, and within a couple months of playing. And then they lost some guys, starter at BYU, starter at New Mexico, that were just on this team. So we got our work cut out for us. I'm going to say that every single week. I believe that each week we got to figure out how to bring our best, and it's going to start with our effort. How hard we run to the ball, how well we finish, how much we want to compete in every single aspect of the game will determine the success of our team.
Jed, you said a month ago that you weren't sure how this group was going to look as a collective before going into camp. What did it look like to you during camp, and maybe what stood out about how everything came together?
Yeah, well, what stood out to me is that each day we improved. We made a standard as a program that we were never going to have a bad practice. We might have a bad moment in practice. We might have a bad period in practice, but we were going to do everything we could not to have a bad practice. And these guys, they never had a bad practice. Sometimes it wasn't as good as we wanted it to be, or there were certain moments that weren't as good. But what I loved about this group over those last 4 weeks is they found a way to find an identity. They found a way that they were going to, be physical. They were going to play with great effort, and they were going to finish on every play disciplined. That's going to be what the standard's going to be here. That's what's going to be what this team looks like. And as they started talking about it more and more, it gave me more belief and more confidence that we're going to be able to start seeing quicker what we want to look like. How quick, I don't know, but certainly quicker than maybe I thought 5 weeks ago.
Are there any updates on Kevin Green Jr.? We saw him get injured at the end of the mock game. Now he's not on the 2 deep.
Yeah, Kevin will be out for a while. I would imagine we won't see Kevin till the bye week.
What is your approach to working with the defense and Steve Belichick? Obviously, it's his first year at college defensive coordinator. How do you handle that process and going to the 2 deeps? Because Coach Sinceri said obviously it starts with you, and I know you're more hands-on with the offense. But kind of what is your approach to the defensive side on that respect?
Yeah, the accountability falls on me. So I've got to do the very best I can to make sure that in all 3 phases of our program, we're all saying the same message. I believe in our coordinators 100%. Defensively, Steve's done a fantastic job since he's arrived. He's really embraced college football. He's embraced the learning curve that these kids are on. He's really done a great job of putting his scheme in. I have the utmost respect for Coach Pow Pow. We've been together now for 4 years. He's run our special teams for the last 3. His so valuable, his input that he gives when it comes to the personnel and the 2 deep and what we need to get done. Coach Carroll's and I have been together for 7 years. Certainly, Brennan has a great mind for the game, and we talk about what we want to do on offense often. But in the end, I'm gonna let Steve put in what he wants to put in. I trust Steve in what we're doing. I'm gonna meet with the defense every Friday, all season long, with the players. I'm gonna meet with Steve every Monday and every Thursday, and meet with the defensive staff every Sunday. And we're gonna make sure that we're all saying the same thing, playing the type of football that we want to play. With that being said, if you're gonna be the play caller, you are gonna spend a little bit extra time on the offensive side. And I've got to be able to manage that with the new, let's call it iPads that we've got on the sideline, and getting wrapped up in sitting on the bench making corrections while you're also the head coach of the team. So there's going to be some learning there as well, and I'm looking forward to balancing that, because at the mock game I felt like I was running a meeting every time we were in between series rather than overseeing the whole game. So I've got to make sure that we get that done.
How would you describe Steve's initial reaction to you offering him this job or reaching out and saying, hey, we want you to come interview and coach in college?
Well, he was, I would say, gratitude, first off. He was, I think he felt that it was a great compliment that we reached out and offered him the defensive coordinator job in a Power 5 team, and he was very grateful for that opportunity. He was excited about the chance to fly out here. He asked if his wife could come with him, as they have been in New England now for 13, I think, straight years. So it was a big move. They've only been with one team. So he wanted to make it a family decision if they chose to do that. He was very prepared when he flew out here for the interview. Had an exact plan of what he wanted to go through on the computer and in terms of installation and in terms of schematics, how he teaches it. He's very, he's not very threatening in the way he speaks. So everyone on the staff felt really good about the inclusiveness that he was going to bring to the coaching staff, but they also were so impressed with his intelligence and how well he knew the game. And it was immediately, we have a great relationship. We have a great friendship. We've socialized together on and off the field. We've been on vacation the same place. So it's not like this was a new relationship. But the idea of being able to have him here, he's been fantastic. I respect him. I trust him. I believe in him. And there's no doubt I feel like we have the best defensive coordinator, if not around.
It looks like a lot of your secondary positions are still in competition. Could you talk about that, and especially Darren Barkins, who came here last year, got hurt, and then just kind of, has been in rehab, it seemed like, ever since.
Yeah, he's had a lot of treatment. He's been in the training room a good amount. Over the last 5 or 6 days, he's shown up as somebody that's competing. I think his first practice back, he had an interception. His second practice back, he had a forced fumble. His third practice back, he recovered a fumble. He just kind of found the ball, which was exciting. And when you've never seen him, because he didn't participate really in very much football since I've been here, he showed up, and that was cool. Obviously, Price Sock, Thad Dixon, EJ have played a lot of football. So there's a lot of video evidence out there, and we feel really good about those 3 guys. And then Jordan Shaw is a freshman, redshirt freshman, but young nonetheless. And then McCutcheon was out for a lot of training camp. So those 2 guys are in a good competition for that star position. And then at safety, Mikkel and Cam Fab were kind of sitting there as the starters during, let's call it, spring ball. And then Cam Broussard came in and did a fantastic job in competition. So that's now added a new dimension there. So now we have the flexibility of 3 corners, 3 safeties, 2 stars. That gives us a lot of personnel groupings. And one thing that Coach Belichick will say, Steve will say for sure, is it's our job to get the best 11 out there for every single play. So we're not going to get wrapped up in what position they play. We're not going to get wrapped up as, are you allowed to play with 3 corners? Sure, you're allowed to play with everybody as long as there are only 11 out there. You're allowed to play with 3 safeties. You're allowed to play with 2 defensive linemen. You're allowed to play with 5 defensive linemen. So I think what we're going to do, what you're going to see is that mentality by Steve that he learned from his dad was it's our job each down to get the best 11 out there to stop what they're doing on offense and not worry about what position they play. And that's why all that competition has been great for the team.
Coach, I think I answered this a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to just follow up after a few more weeks of practice, and probably a better question for week 4, week 5, but what are you good at? Like, what are you hoping this team is good at starting Saturday?
Well, I want to be good at playing really hard. I want to be great at that, actually. And that's something we're good at, not great at yet. But our hope as a coaching staff is by Saturday we're great at it. And if we're not great at it Saturday, by the following Saturday we're great at it. We want to be great at playing with incredible effort. The next thing I'd say we want to be great at is we want to be great at fundamentals. If it's about setting the edge on defense, then we want to be great at setting the edge. If it's about tackling on defense, we want to be great at tackling. If it's about blocking on offense, we want to be great at blocking. You know, I put up a quote the other day from Vince Lombardi, and it was like, football is about 2 things, blocking and tackling. So we got to be good at those 2 things. If we're not good at those 2 things, the rest of it doesn't matter. So that's kind of what I want to be good at. Effort, running to the ball, setting the edge, tackling, blocking, fundamentals. After that, we'll see if we can be good at throwing post routes or corner routes or playing cover 2 or playing cover 6 or whatever it might be. But in the end, we want to be good at the first part.
Coach, you named Will Rogers your QB1. But you said earlier, there's a really talented guy nipping at his heels. Is there going to be certain situations, special packages where we see Damone step in under center?
The answer to that question is maybe. We've got a very talented quarterback room, and it's our responsibility to move the football any way possible. How we do that, when we do that, how we choose to do that, we're very excited about Will right now as our starting quarterback going into this game and everything that Will brings. And then we'll see what Demond can do, will do. But I did this with Noah and Jaden, and Noah redshirted his freshman year. He played 4 games. He didn't go in more than 4 games, and then he came back in his second year, won Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. So we don't know. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know how it's going to be. I don't want to predict the future. I just know that right now I love our quarterback room, and I'm really excited about where it's headed.
Jedd, you've got 6 guys listed on the depth chart with the edge rusher. Can you just talk a little bit about that competition, why you felt comfortable putting so many guys on the chart?
Yeah, because the edge rusher is, they're the edge player. They're the ends, right? So is it a run snap? Is it a pass snap? Is there certain third down packages that you'd want to get a guy in for? I think we've all seen like the designated pass rusher is one of those terms that people use when they're talking about the draft. Like, hey, is this guy really a third down pass rusher or is he an edge setter? So for us, we have to get an idea of what type of offense we're playing every week. Some guys fit what we're doing on defense better for a certain week. We don't want to get locked into, you guys asking me on Saturday, hey, you guys you didn't have so-and-so on your depth chart, and yet he played 36 snaps. Well, I didn't, know they were going to be a zone read team, or I didn't want to tell you guys that, whatever it might be. So, we left it open for interpretation and our flexibility to be able to mix and match players back and forth.
Jedd, ultimately, when you talk about your quarterback battle, how difficult did Damon make that decision for you guys to go with Will, or the idea that you could play both of them?
Damon got better every day. Damon got better every single day. Coach Doherty did a great job developing Damon and continuing to obviously develop Will as well. I think our quarterbacks continue to show how they can thrive in our system. And I believe it's a great system to play quarterback in. I think that's been proven over the years. It's a great system to play wide receiver in. So I feel like it's a situation where Damon will continue to get better. Damon turned 18 in March. Will has been doing this for a long time. Together, they've made each other better. They're going to continue to make each other better. Damon continued to improve. Will continue to improve. And what's exciting to me is when you have a true freshman at quarterback, every receiver in the country should want to come here. Okay? Thanks. Appreciate it.
We'll be back Thursday.